transferring the pasta that I had left in this box of rotini that I bought around the time of the heat wave to make a pasta salad. Yeah, I was gonna bake the chicken, but I think I'm gonna bake the chicken real quick, chop it up, and then kind of just make this as like a pasta mixture with the spaghetti, like a chicken spaghetti, I guess, with rotini. So that'll just be easier to serve and easier to pack and eat. So we're starting off with 7 ounces or 196 grams of rotini. In the future, I'm gonna wait and start the pasta a little later because I wanna bake the chicken first, but whatever, it'll be fine. I'm gonna go ahead and start cooking it. It'll take a while to cook, and then I'll just cook it to al dente so that it'll finish cooking in the spaghetti sauce. I may go ahead and just get that started once this cooks just a little bit. I just don't know if I have enough spaghetti sauce to cook the pasta all the way. So this is about 1 1/4 pound of chicken. I chopped it up. I'm gonna bake it and let it start cooking, and then I'm gonna add it to the marinara with the pasta and let that all cook together and make kind of a chicken spaghetti. Also added to the chicken a little Tony's sachets, a little Italian seasoning, a little parsley. I'm gonna let that bake up. So it's still not very deep. I kind of could have used a smaller pot, but oh well. We're gonna transfer the pasta. I just tasted the pasta. It's pretty much ready to go. So it's not gonna need to cook a lot. It'll just kind of simmer in there with the spaghetti sauce until the chicken is ready, and then I'll add it, and then I might even pop it in the oven briefly at the end to let the cheese melt. I don't know, or I might just be lazy and not do that. So I'm gonna add all this pasta, about half a box of pasta, to the marinara. All right, so I've transferred all the pasta. I'm just gonna let it barely simmer on a really low heat and just add the chicken once the chicken is baked. Let the chicken finish cooking through if it needs, and we'll be done. We'll have a quick meal. This is kind of a make up at the last minute kind of meal to use up some stuff. The chicken I already had because it was in the fridge. A friend came over this weekend and I was gonna cook for us, but we ended up eating out. And so I already had the chicken. I had to buy the marinara sauce. I didn't have that. I had half a box of noodles already, and I have the cheese that I'm gonna spread on top. So I'm using up the last of a bag of cheese that I had. This is the Tillamook Italian blend. I used this for another casserole that I made a few weeks ago, the chicken and broccoli rotini casserole. So this is 3½ servings. That's what was left. I'm gonna distribute that into each of the containers once I distribute the chicken spaghetti. So each of them will have cheese. I may just go ahead and add it and stir it all in at once and then divide it, but we'll see. I just wanna make sure there's enough for every container to have a good flavoring of cheese. So I've added the chicken to the pasta and the marinara sauce, and I'm just kind of bringing it up to a medium heat just to kind of rewarm it so that I can add the cheese and let that all melt. Then I think we'll have a nice tasty dinner. I'm also gonna add just a little bit of Tony's just to kind of add a little something, give it a little kick, because it's a little bland. It's a little on the bland side. All right, so I've got the cheese here. I'm gonna go ahead and add it in, and then I'm just gonna add it ahead of time, mix it all in. And then once it's all kind of melty, we will distribute it into containers once it kind of cools a little bit. See, it's not a whole lot of cheese, but it's enough, and I can always pick up another bag to supplement. This is my last bag of cheese, used all up. So I used up quite a bit of items here. So, let's see. Nice. Nice. You can see the melty cheese on it. You could totally add something green to make this more green, like some spinach, or eat it with the side of something. But I'm just gonna eat it like this because I'm hungry and I'm ready to eat, and it looks and smells delicious. So another win. All right, so we've got 5 servings plus the serving that I ate, so a total of 6 servings out of this. All right, so I'm gonna finish up the last of the chicken salad that I made. The last serving of it. I've got a carb balanced tortilla here that I've sliced up. I'm gonna mix that in as I eat it, and I'm gonna add these greens. These are greens. I got a meal in our cafeteria at work, and I got a side of greens to go with it, and I saved it for the salad. So I'm gonna mix this up. Add a few carrots, That'll be a good lunch. Here it is, finished product. I've added a few of the carrots to snack on as well with it. And I think this will be great. This will be delicious. Finally gonna do it. Gonna open up the crock pot. I bought this earlier this year, intending to use it during the summer whenever it was too hot to really turn on the oven. I thought I could try to cook a few things without turning on the oven or cooking something on the stove that heats up the whole house. But never got around to it. It's been kind of a rough summer, but I'm gonna try it today. I'm gonna take it out. I'm gonna try to cook my cabbage casserole in it and see how that turns out. I tried making the cabbage casserole in another crock pot that I have, and I just didn't feel like it came out that great, but this one is bigger, so it might work better. The last time I had to change some ingredients because they couldn't all fit. So we're gonna try with this. I'll take you along and show you how it goes. Assembling the cabbage casserole. Starting with the star ingredients, we've got 1 pound ground beef. This is the 96 lean version. You could use whatever ground beef or ground turkey, ground chicken, whatever you want. You could even try ground pork if you wanted. Next up, next star ingredient, the cabbage. I chopped this a couple days ago and didn't end up making the cabbage casserole. It just got to be too late. So I let the cabbage drain in the colander and just set it in the fridge like this, and it's been hanging out for a couple of days, but I'll add it to the casserole now. Using basmati rice. This rice is actually out of my long-term pantry. I'm not going to use the brown rice that I want to use up because I don't know how brown rice will cook in a slow cooker, and I don't want any kind of crunchy rice. I think this rice will cook pretty quick. But I have a long-term pantry that I keep some items in, some canned goods, some rice, maybe some beans, in case there's a situation where there's, you know, some kind of disaster and we can't get food. So I'll have like a, you know, like they say, a 2-week supply, but I'll borrow from it from time to time to make sure things don't go bad. So this is the basmati rice. And I'm not gonna use the brown rice because I just don't know how it's gonna cook in a slow cooker. I don't want it to be crunchy or not to cook thoroughly, so this will cook pretty fast. This is the 2 cans of Amy's soup that I am using out of my pantry. This will finish up 2 items. These were a purchase back in 2020 when the world was going crazy. I stocked up on these soups and I'm using them up now. I've also got onion and bell pepper. These I had previously frozen, so this is about a half of an onion, half of a bell pepper. And then I'll have to buy some more and chop it up for the next time I cook. I've got olive oil to coat the pan with. I don't know what's wrong with this can. It's either empty or it's just not spraying well, but I'll get what I can out of here, use it up, and then to coat the crock pot, I'll use a little of this on this. I don't know how to keep food from sticking to the side of the crock pot. I know people use liners. I don't really like to use liners. It's just more trash to throw away. So look at this crock pot, check it out. Enjoy the beauty of the smooth and clean crock pot, because it seems like the minute I cook in a crock pot, something sticks to the side and it's never this smooth. I mean, look, it's like pure black. There's no blemishes on it. So we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna coat the sides really well so that things don't stick. Seasonings, I've got Tony's Sashries, and then I may use some Italian seasoning and parsley just to kind of add to the flavor. I'm looking for some other go-to seasonings. Just for everyday use, I generally tend to stick with the Italian and the parsley because it's got enough in there to give it some flavor, but it doesn't give it like a distinct flavor the way like a Southwest seasoning would. So this is what I have. So let's kind of run down the items I'm using up versus the items I already had. I'm using up probably this olive oil. It's on its last leg. I'm gonna use seasonings I already have. The 2 soups I already had out of my pantry, so using up two items from there. And I had to buy the ground beef. I didn't have to buy the onions. I had onions and bell pepper already frozen, so I didn't have to buy any of that. I borrowed the rice from long-term pantry, so you can kind of say I bought it. It's not coming from my everyday pantry. And then I have the cabbage, which I had to buy, but cabbage is cheap. So using up quite a bit. Stay tuned to see how I put this together and the finished product. I'm excited to cook this in a crock pot and see how it turns out. I hope it's good. I hope the rice cooks all the way through. Because it would be great to just be able to dump all of this in the crock pot next time I make cabbage casserole and just let it go and not worry about heating up the house with the oven. Here it is, ready to go. I'm gonna add the lid. Boom. I'm gonna move it over to the corner of the kitchen where the plug is and turn it on. So we'll see how this turns out. I'm wondering if it'll cook the same as it did in the oven, but we'll find out, we'll see. It's certainly a little bit easier. I don't have to stand over the oven and kind of stir it and watch it cook. I can just check on this, and I'm gonna just put it on high for a while and then see how long it takes till everything cooks down. It's been a few hours since I started it. It's cooked through, the rice is cooked all the way through. I tasted it, it's really good. The texture does feel a little different than if I cooked it in the oven, but it's good either way. And this was just more convenient for me today. So this is what I got out of the cabbage casserole. It's 5 containers, they're about 2 cups each. I will probably eat out of these about twice, so 10 servings. I did eat off of it twice before I saved it into the dishes. I served myself a serving after it was ready and I ate it, and then after I had everything in the containers, I had a little bit left, so I ate that as a second serving. So we'll say 12 servings total. So not too shabby. As far as cooking it in the crock pot, I will say that I prefer baking it. It just, the texture was a little different in the crock pot. I think what happened was the rice actually broke down. So it wasn't like whole chunks of rice, like it kind of broke down and became soft. Maybe the brown rice would have actually done better in the crock pot. Maybe it would have held its form better, or maybe I should cook it for a shorter amount of time. Maybe it just got to be too hot and it all broke down. But it still tastes good. I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna eat it with crackers. It's just the texture was different in the crock pot, so I'll try it again in the crock pot in the future, maybe for a shorter amount of time and with a different type of rice, maybe a brown rice. Or maybe I'll add more rice. Maybe I didn't add enough rice. But anyway, it's good. I'm excited to eat it. I'm gonna put some of these in the freezer so that when I recover from surgery, I can just pull them out. They'll be ready to eat along with some of the other stuff that I prepared recently. And some of it I'll probably eat before then. And these are some new containers I bought. I was getting low on containers, so they're really nice. They're a little on the cheap side. I don't know, I may look for something different the next time I order. Some of them were cracked when I opened the package, so I had to recycle them right away because I'm not gonna use cracked stuff. So here we are, about 10 to 12 servings, ready to go for the week. Today I'm gonna try this slow simmered soup by Rouse, the tortellini and vegetable. This is another soup that I'm trying ahead of my surgery so that I'll have a few options. I'll probably stock up on the ones that I like for the few days after surgery, but today I'm gonna try this one. I'm gonna start it off on high just to get it to heat up quickly, and then I'll lower it to simmer. So here it is. I think it'll be good. I'll let you guys know. I mean, you could totally bulk it up with more veggies if you want, but I think the texture and the amount of veggies per broth, per tortellini shells is good, and we'll just see. But you can always add more spinach, more carrots. You could even add some beans, maybe some white beans to this. I'm gonna go ahead and eat it, and then I'll let you guys know what I think. Future Bonnie here. I really did enjoy this soup. I probably will wait and eat this after I've recovered a little bit because the tortellini has cheese in it, and I just don't know if that'll be too hard on my stomach. But once I'm feeling better, I still think this will be a good light option. It kind of gives me some Chef Boyardee vibes, but that's okay. I grew up with Chef Boyardee, and I'm not I'm not afraid to eat some. But really good, really flavorful. I might add some beans or something, like I said earlier, but definitely a keeper.